that's where he's coming from.
Yeah, exactly. And that same person asked if Tiddler is out, it means he's done for BlizzCon. Yep, Tiddler not going to BlizzCon, at least not as a participant. Maybe he goes there for, some other reason. But yeah, we have Gudu versus Love, and this is where I get to talk about Love. Yesterday we had one of those in between matches. We had a video. They show a bunch of videos here and there, but Love was saying some things on stage, and then they had the slow motion replay of it, and when they had the slow motion replay of it, below the Chinese, it had English subtitles, and the English subtitles were, "You are such a dick. You are ashamed. You make shame for your parents," or something like that. And I think it was one of the most funny things I've ever seen.
Wow.
And
Wow.
yeah, so apparently, Love bringing shame to his parents by apparently being a dick. So there we go. Hopefully, he can make it to BlizzCon.
All right, well, we'll get a chance to see that. This will be our last game of the group stages, and it's going to be a Druid versus Warlock, and it looks like the Demon Zoo variety.
Exactly. Yeah. So Demons are one of the strongest decks, one of the strongest decks out there. Excuse me. And we have the Ramp Druid on the side of Gudu. Again, Gudu is running a lineup that tries to counter Patron as hard as possible, so a matchup like this is going to be pretty difficult for him. As the Druid, you do manage, a lot of times you have those big top minions like the Ancient of War that can help you a lot in this matchup against Zoo, but a lot of times you don't have the early options to be able to combat them, so it could definitely go either way, but I would say it's absolutely in favor of the Druid, but not when you get to go. Oh wait, what is he doing? He's only coin. He's only coin Wild Growth thing. I thought he was gonna go turn one Sludge Belcher. I was getting excited for a second.
Yeah, turn one Sludge Belcher, probably not what you want to double innervate on initially. When I first started playing Druid, I was like, I'm going to run Hogger in my Druid deck. So on the off chance that I get all of these cards, I can play it so early that I'll just get so many... what are the things he spawns? I forget. Knolls.
No,
Yeah. That the opponent won't deal with it. But yeah, turn one, Sludge Belcher's not really super great to just have swinging away.
yeah, but I mean, the reason why I wanted him to do that is because he had so much ramp in his hand, right? He could have gone turn one Sludge Belcher, turn two Wild Growth, turn three Sludge Belcher, turn six coin Sludge Belcher, excuse me. But I guess that would have left him with nothing to do on turn five. But I mean, you're draw a five drop. In any case, we do see the coin Wild Growth into that Innervate Sludge Belcher. Could have gone for the Ancient of War, decides to go for the more defensive play. Makes a lot of sense. And Knife Juggler, not sniping anything today.
Which, to be fair, is almost the first time today that we have seen a Knife Juggler not snipe something. It's been a good day for Knife Jugglers.
Oh my goodness! So he gets the Sylvanas, so he can't innervate into that. I imagine that's what you do. I mean, you don't want to innervate into your Sludge Belcher because you can just play that next turn. And Sylvanas is just super annoying. Love, what do you silence here?
So many choices. Well, I think silencing Sylvanas is the better long-term play, but I don't know really what you benefit from just killing off the Sludge Belcher.
Yeah, definitely. But, I mean, I guess I pointed out because you have the Sludge Belcher in hand. From the side of Love, he has a litany of 2-drops. He could also have gone with the Defender of Argus there. Maybe run the King Boston and then Defender of Argus, get a 3-2 and a 2-2 would be pretty good. But going to go for the more annoying minions on the board that, for instance, if Druid steals these, doesn't really matter. It gets decides to go for the play that gets less damage on the board, which doesn't always feel too good when you're the Zoo lock, going for less damage so that Sylvanas doesn't steal anything.
It's like, let me make sure that my board is as weak as possible, because that's good.
Yeah, he's like, oh wait, yeah. It's like, oh wait, that's probably not a good idea. Dang it.
Interesting strategy, but at least it's going to pay off to some extent. Experiencing a little bit of lag there, but we should just see... It'll be interesting to see what this Sylvanas winds up stealing eventually, because it's not going to die for a while.
Yeah, I would like to just see Gudu put in the pressure and go to face here. I know his overall deck strategy is to play everything defensively, but in this case, yeah, I mean, nothing you attack into it just gives your opponent more things anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You might as well just start going face, putting that pressure on, giving the zoo less time. I mean, this is why you get your big minions out early, right? You just you can just put the pressure on, and all these little dudes are not going to do anything to you.
Yeah, the Warlock's just like, oh, let me swing at you with my tiny little minions, and then you've got like Sylvanas, Sludge Belchers, everything else you could want out there. Might have been interesting to see the innervate into Druid of Lore, just because that gives you the extra card draw so that you can continually play more. But I think this is definitely the better idea. So hard to kill off double Sludge Belchers and to have Sylvanas swinging away the whole time. Just really, really strong start. There we go.
Yeah.
Man, it's been a Spoonerisms night tonight. But yeah, good to see Love not necessarily totally out, because he did get a pretty good Argus there. But at least for the time now, Gudu maybe in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, Love actually putting up a really annoying board here, which is kind of interesting, right? This game isn't completely over, despite the fact that Love on his turn 5 was facing down 2 5-drops and a 6-drop. Like, what is happening here, right? And yet, Zoo is so powerful, so potent at making big things out of little things. Just like we see this Nerubian has the potential to become a 4/4 that, yeah, even with all of that, the Druid's only slightly ahead here.
Well, he's going to go ahead and pop the Nerubian, and that means that I guess you have a couple of options here. You can probably hope that you're able to steal Nerubian when it comes out, but you probably just want to make sure that you have the best opportunity of making that happen. Unfortunately, you'd have to wait another turn, and here comes the implosion. So I guess I think you still silence Sylvanas here, correct? Or is it better just to try to deal with the taunt early?
Well, you could hold that silence for something later, like an Ancient of War now, and just make Sylvanas take a 1/1 or something like that. That would be perfectly fine with me in this situation. But he is kind of reaching for that owl. I would disagree. I would kind of shy away from that one. I would maybe like to see something like run the Nerubian in, maybe run your Defender in, and then Knife Juggler Implosion onto the Sylvanas, or maybe you run some of your 1/1s in because you're gonna get 1/1s later anyway, and your 4/1 your Nerubian's going to be a 4/1 anyway, but then maybe you're really weak to swipe, so I guess it's kind of a tough decision by Love here. That's why he's going through all the math, seeing what he can do here. But yeah, one thing I want to point out is Gudu actually did not play the Big Game Hunter last turn as a Tempo BGH. He knows that there's the Mal'Ganis and there's the Dr. Boom, and he's kind of reverting back to a situation where he's going to be playing defensively. What is Sylvanas still here? She is going to get an Imp. Okay.
The Imp hype. You know what I love? Playing 6 mana 5/5s to steal 1/1s. That's what feels bad, man. But in the end,
that's first response out, and for a moment there, Love had the board control, but Dr. Boom.
Until one day, all that changed. Dr. Boom, a pretty good card. So what's the response here? You can't really play Doomguard. I guess the best idea is Void Caller and then hope you get it.
Yeah, probably the best idea to go here, just to maximize the value out of your minions. Although I suppose if you decide you don't really want that Void Caller, you just want to go straight for the Doomguard, you could just play it right now, I suppose. But
unfortunately, it doesn't get the dagger snipe there on either the Silenced Boombot or the regular one. Does have a bunch of damage that can go to hand, or does he spend that killing off Dr. Boom? Or could go to hand, could go to face. The hand's right above the face. Whatever. Do you kill off Dr. Boom or do you go to face? I guess face is the place.
Yeah, face could be the place here. It all depends if this Boombot lands awkwardly.
Oh man, that almost put the Doomguard out on the field.
That would have been really, really funny and actually very good for Love, ironically.
And actually, that's why playing the Owl was kind of bad, because he denied the Boombot the opportunity of helping him get the Doomguard out on the field by killing Void Caller.
Well, I mean, you don't always know it's going to hit Void Caller. There are 5 targets in the field, but I don't think I agree with this trading with the Dr. Boom, because you're giving Ramp Druid more time. You don't want to be giving Ramp Druid more time. You know what's in Ramp Druid? Ramp cards. You're not going to be able to compete with those in the late game. Pretty tough decision here by Gudu. Thinking about going to Lore, but knows that Void Caller could be dangerous. Only one card on the side of Love. How likely does he think that that's possible? The problem is if you go for the Ancient, or sorry, not the Ancient, the Keeper, the Keeper of the Grove. You can't do anything else, which really feels bad, man.
Man, yeah, a little bit awkward there, but at least this is going to get... Oh, the double Doom Guard
double
turns
Doom
into
Guard.
a great Doom Guard.
Wow.
TIL, you can play 2 Doom Guards from your hand without discarding anything. Sounds good to me.
Oh my god. So, as it turns out, playing a 4-mana card is better than playing a 7-mana card. For Gudu. Who knew? It's... Oh my goodness. Could not have gotten punished any harder in that situation.
Somewhat of a swing in tempo, I would say, D2. Just a
Yeah.
little bit of esports going on.
When you get double 5/7 charge onto the board for just 5 mana and you're able to tap, yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, Doomguard discards 2 cards. So we're basically looking at what, like an 8-drop if it didn't discard anything normally. So yeah, he basically just Variant Rend all on top of this Druid right here.
Yeah. I was gonna say, where are those poison seeds at? You gotta get rid of these things, but unfortunately, those are gonna stick around for quite a while. 14 health worth of charge on the field, and geez, this is gonna be quite the struggle to deal with. And all of a sudden, the Druid that started out with double Innervate coin turn 1. Not going to make it happen. And there you see the win conditions. 21.6% chance that Love wins the game. Unfortunately, not going to find it.
Yeah, Void Turret, not a good draw here, but you can Direwolf Doggy to start going into face here. That said, this Emperor Thorson is pretty dangerous, and it is a lot of damage in the field. If Gudu had combo in hand, he has lethal with just one of these minions sticking, so pretty tough decision for Love right here, and looks like he is going to trade off.
You definitely clear here. There's not all that much that you're afraid of clearing your board. He's still going to be able to...
he's gonna put the Void Terror on the board, having seen that tempo BGH. And, yeah, Gudu cannot be happy about that one.
You know, I was counting there for a second. I was like, 5 plus 3 is 8. Do you still get the bonus health from the... Okay, I was just going to silence. Never mind. Can't even calculate bonus damage, was what I was trying to get at. But all right, so both players just playing to survive here. A little bit of a conservative play there by Love to just make sure he wasn't dead to combo. And so instead, it's the combo... Well, not the combo, but Force of Nature used to clear out his own board. And so now we're just finding 2 players playing to survive.
I don't really see the purpose of not playing this Flame Imp right here, because you're dead to combo anyway. I don't like going down to 13. What is that? I mean, I guess you don't die now to Force Swipe or Force Druid the Claw, but I just don't really see the purpose of this. And after we thought that Love had taken the massive lead, I mean, looks like it swung right back into Gudu's favor.
All right, well, yeah, definitely Gudu in a great spot here. He's preventing... Oh, well, okay, well, there's Mal'Ganis. That's going to at least do a little... Okay, well, it's not going to do anything, but...
No, it'll buff up this guy, and it's pretty annoying. Plus, he doesn't take any damage from this Flame Imp.
Oh, wow, that's actually OP. I forgot about that, because you won't hurt yourself. Interesting. All right, well, Mal'Ganis will die here, though, so it's not incredibly...
Yeah, just to a little Wrath, and yeah, not enough damage to face, unfortunately, to get the lethal, but he is going to clear the board. Mal'Ganis healing up back to almost full there. Are we going to see... Probably just going to go face, yeah, because, well, you die to double power? Yeah, you're just going to kill it, okay. Just kidding. You're so far ahead here, there's no reason to take any chances and die to double power. No, as unlikely as it is, because... there are some beefy minions in Zoo, but you've seen most of them. You're not gonna be able to. I mean, you don't really need pushing damage. Is what I'm trying to get at. You can just control the board from here out and get the win. And he actually has lethal in hand. If Love didn't have a taunt or anything. So yeah, definitely good play by Gudu. A couple of things went awry, but in the end, able to take it down 1-0 to Gudu.
Man, all right. Well, at least we did see a victory for the player that we thought was strong starting out. The Druid player finally able to come back, and that conservative decision to play around dying to the combo there for Love kind of wound up biting him in the end. I think he still would have lost by 1 health or 1 damage there towards the end. But even still, probably would have been better to head to the face instead of trying to clear out against the combo.
Yeah, I mean, if he had gone to the face there, it would have been so much pressure onto the druid. He would have been down to 4 health, I believe.
Hmm.
And I mean, yeah, there's a lot of cards in the druid's hand, but you know it's a ramp druid. He's probably only playing one copy of combo, and so it's not too likely. And if you don't push for damage right there, maybe he removes some stuff with a removal, which he ended up doing. But just from the hypothetical, if he if he starts removing your board and plays bigger minions, then you have no way to win the game, and you're looking at just drawing smaller minions. You have like maybe a couple bigger guys left in the deck, but that ramp druid is like stock full of big minions. So I definitely have to agree with you. Probably would have better take the chance, go to face, and if you die to combo, you die to combo. You have to roll with it.
All right, well, let's talk about what we're rolling with as far as classes. This is now Handlock. Or, no, this is not Handlock. It's like Demon Lock
Well,
versus...
it's mostly hand lock. It's like hand demon lock. The void color is in there for Mal'Ganis and Jiraxis, and I think maybe one Doomguard. We actually haven't seen the full list out from Gudu, just because he's been playing constantly. I mean, he's been winning pretty consistently with his deck. So we've only seen it like once or twice here and there. So we haven't actually seen everything in it. I would assume that it's just your. I mean, this deck isn't the most standard. Handlock is a little bit more standard, but you do see this played from time to time, and it's typically Jiraxis, Mal'Ganis, and something like a Doomguard. Occasionally, like a Dread Infernal. I have a guy who I'm a little bit or I'm friends with, who likes to play Handlock all the time. He actually put Illidan in his deck to pair with the Void Caller, and he got, I think, #1 legend on NA. So yeah, it's you can put quite a few things in there.
Illidan. Now that's a card I've not seen in a very long time. But either way, yeah, this is. I'm disappointed that Gudu didn't go with the coin mountain giant last turn. I feel like that would have definitely been the.
Might have been a little bit of misplay, yeah.
Yeah, not quite what you want to see. I've ashamedly done that many times before when I was first learning Hearthstone. But either way, he's going to be able, or he's going to always be one turn off playing that mountain giant, at least for last turn, this turn. And so instead is what's he looking for as far as ways to ramp up his hand? He doesn't have any. I guess he does have the other Void Caller in his hand if he wants to trade that one into the Shredder, but instead
Yeah.
is just going to get some extra value.
Yeah, getting Void Caller for a Void Caller isn't usually the best. In this case, just kind of want to get the value trade, kill off that
Right.
zombie chow. And part of the reason he coined into the Void Caller, maybe it was residual effects from the last game where he lost in a couple minutes, and you cut out for a couple seconds, and the game was already over because you got like, I think it was 5 Silver Hand recruits that were.
Oh, and this is actually really cool because with the ability to kill off the previous Void Caller and it calling the other Void Caller, now Love can kill off both Void Callers, and pulling the other Void Caller, yeah, he's going to go for it, and he will be rewarded by not seeing anything else come down.
Yeah, he figured that playing against a demon handlock, maybe you see Jiraxis, but Jiraxis is one of the most scary things that you're gonna have just as the hero. One of the things that Paladin really can't deal with anyway. So you're kind of happy with getting Jiraxis on the field, even though it takes forever to deal with. He's really not gonna kill you, and you can eventually like kind of bring him down. As a Paladin player, you want to be playing this matchup pretty slowly, dealing with the minions, dealing with the threats one by one. Don't give him the Moltons until you really have have the ability to deal with them, whether it be with the minions on board, if you deal with them one by one, or if you can maybe put your opponent in a position to be forced to go double Molten Sunbeer, and then you have something like a Quality Consecrate to deal with it. So yeah, from the side of the Paladin, you want to go basically as slow as possible, and he had the BGH to deal with Mal'Ganis, and Jiraxis not that big of a deal. In the long game, if you're not dealing with Jiraxis as that hero on the side of the handlock, then you're in a good spot.
All right. Well, speaking of being in a good spot, barring the, I guess, yeah, we don't have to worry about swipe. I had the last game stuck in my head. This is actually a pretty decent board. There's still the opportunity to clear the board next turn, but how do you start to deal with it? There's no Aldor, but there is that BGH. So I guess you BGH into
Yeah,
hero power.
yeah, he's actually not going to use BGH because he knows that there's going to be a BGH coming out at some point. Oh, he plays the Murloc Knight, and he didn't sack off anything, so he doesn't get the Murloc out of it. That is a pretty big misplay.
Uh,
And he was going to sack these guys off anyway. It's not like, it's not like, oh, my board is too full, like, what do I do? He was going to sack him off anyway, and he was just, like, thinking, did you see the tongue stick out of the frog
yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah.
What?
Well,
He's sticking it out straight at Love right now. He's like, haha, he didn't get the Murloc.
I actually haven't seen that one from the golden one, and he's gonna lose his entire board anyway. But wow, that's what in the end, not having the extra Murloc didn't actually matter because the board cleared anyway.
Yeah. Well, it could have been a war leader, so his Murloc Knight could have been a 5/5.
And then it wouldn't have. Then it would have died. Hmm.
Yeah, and then you would have, and also something you also could have gotten is Old Murkai, which is out of the range. No, it's not out of the range, but you could have gotten the Sylphan Stalker, which would have given you a card if your guy died. So, yeah, most likely it didn't matter, but in this case, most likely it didn't matter, but not a mistake you want to be making. I mean, we see people in chat calling him a noob, but overall, I mean, his overall train of thought was correct, right? He wants to be saving this BGH for the exact right moment. And if you can deal with the giant without using one of your premium removal, then that's what you go for. And he knows there's going to be giants coming out anyway in the future. So overall, the decision making was solid, but just simple mistake, and it happens to the best of us.
All right. Well, now we're going to see an Emperor drop, and really nice job dealing with Antonidas there, or not Antonidas, Tyrion. I was like, what's that other legendary? I was like, yeah, that's how you can tell. I've been casting for what, like 4 hours, 6 a.m. It's been a little bit of a long night.
Yeah,
I got it eventually.
Yeah, the time is a little bit more palatable here in Japan rather than.
I was gonna say you're only like what 14 hours ahead, so
just a little bit, yeah. So in any case, we did see the immediate consecration into the 50/50 on a knife juggler. Kind of quick play on the side of Love, to be honest. Immediately going for that 50/50, realizing or thinking that's going to be what he needs. From the side of Gudu, he does the Hellfire on just a knife juggler and a dude. So really interesting play. I guess he really wanted to get these Molten Giants out because there's no other chance for him to be able to do this. Alright, we have the Tuskar Jouster. Is he going to win? Nope. Loses. This is, in fact, handlocked. There's a lot of expensive minions. Finally plays the BGs off the left side of his hand. I wonder if Gudu is going to be scratching his head about that one. But in any case, we see a really good spot for Gudu because, Love can reload, but it's going to take his entire turn to do so.
Yeah, this is not a good spot to be in for Love because he's going to be facing off tons of damage on the board. I mean, I guess he can silence the Molten Giant. That doesn't really do anything. He's going to need to draw something pretty cool. He could draw into an Equality, I suppose. But I'm not even sure if he runs Equality.
Yeah, no, he probably runs Equality. We've seen actually Chinese players run 2 Equalities, which is kind of strange. And in any case, on the side of Gudu, he's wondering what to do in this situation, wondering how he should play this handout. And he didn't see an Aldor last turn, which he probably would have. He probably would have seen the BGH into Aldor to deal with this Molten Giant, excuse me, right now. So that's why he's deciding not to kill off this Tuskar Jouster, deciding instead to put some pressure on. And there's the Aldor, but not enough mana to use it. What do you do in the side of, when you're Love? How much damage are you facing down? 11. Put some Night Juggle on the board just to provide a threat. At least that.
Right.
Sorry.
I was just thinking of what else if there were win conditions here for Gudu. I don't believe there are. Like Dark Bomb or something like that, but probably not. So, yeah, this is going to be really bad for Love's board. Of course, next turn he will be able to Aldor that Molten Giant, but at that point, will it just be too late?
Yeah, it could be too late. We could see some trading out here from Gudu because he has picked up the Duraxis, and even if your opponent has Harrison Jones, it doesn't really matter because you get to just keep spanning out those 6/6s, and eventually you're going to win the game. So. Yeah, gonna go with that. Gonna trade and then attack the face with the Molten Giant. I would be very surprised if he plays that Sun Fury Protector because it only provides a minimal amount of damage, and we get really punished by something like this Equality.
All right, yeah, and that's exactly what I was thinking of earlier. And this means you don't necessarily even need to use the Aldor. You can just drop the equality, kill off everything on the board that you need to, and continue on business as usual. You can even equality Dr. Boom, which is a huge tempo swing for Love.
Yeah, that equality was the best card that he could have drawn, and it's almost guaranteed he's going to be clearing this board right now. It just depends on whether his Night Juggler has to die, and it actually does. Unfortunately, well, I guess it doesn't, but he's going to do it anyway because a little bit of trouble with that life total. But yeah, Love turning around that game just with that equality, and that's why you clear the Knife Juggler.
All right, yeah, Knife Juggler turns out it's actually pretty it's pretty good. We were already talking about how it had pretty much always been in the meta, but a decent response right back at you. Going to BGH the Dr. Boom, and then turn up for a board of taunts. Gudu right back in this. It's like, I control the board. No, I control the board. And so now we're going to see who really controls it at the end of this turn.
Alright, gonna clear out that an anti-heal bot so that he gets guaranteed kill on this BGH here. Well, I guess he could have played around with the boom bots first, I suppose, to get a better chance. But it doesn't matter. Snipes it off. He's good.
3 damage. That's some good old RNGs is there. He's rubbing his magic 20-sided die, and it turns up 3. So there you go.
So Gudu was trying to prepare for a Jirax's turn for a while, but he's still under a bit of pressure. Say he plays Jirax's here, and okay, never mind. He's reaching for the Morganis, but yeah, he's gonna go for the Morganis. Jirax is a little bit too scary, facing a little bit too much damage, and we see a Quartermaster. That will help a bit. Does he go for it is the question. And see, this is the problem with Gudu kind of throwing out his AoE earlier. I mean, he had a plan. He played the Hellfire to make sure his Moltons got out a little bit faster, but he would really like a Hellfire or a Shadow Flame at this point.
Question mark for me, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you silence Mal'Ganis and then go for Aldor and then send everything to face?
No, you just kill him. You save the silence.
Okay, so he's gonna get that extra hero power off.
Yeah, if you just you just kill him this way, and none of your guys die anyway, so it's fine. You basically just save silence for a taunt that your opponent puts up at this point, and you're almost guaranteed to win the game. Actually, Love really bringing this game around.
All right, well, yeah, Love. It had definitely gone back and forth. That is a very fair assessment. Love down 0-1, probably looking to go up. Is there any response here? Jiraxis hurts you, and there's, what is that, 5, 7, 10, 15 damage on board. Actually, no, there's True Silver.
19, yeah.
So you're dead unless you clear stuff.
If only Lothib stopped things from, stop minions from attacking for some reason. Your things cost more mana to attack. Wait, what? Anyway, so this is going to be a game. It's just going to owl it and go to face. I can't even... Well, I can't believe that Love won it. I mean, this is a matchup that's pretty even. Can go either way. But, yeah, I felt like Gudu kind of... He may have thrown away that game using his AoE a little bit too prematurely. Kind of saw an opportunity to go for something. It looks like Love kind of shaking his head. Still a little bit embarrassed by that Murloc Knight play. And yeah, he knows that he's going to have to step it up in order to make the Blizzcon, knows how important this match is.
All right, well, 1-1. We've seen so many games just tie themselves up just like shoes. So now we get to go into game number 3. And once again, this does determine the last player to qualify for BlizzCon from China, or to represent China. And immediately following this, we will have our bracket to decide the winner of this tournament. But let's go ahead and get into our Warlock Mirror. Of course, 2 very different Warlocks. One of them is the Hand Demon Lock variety from Gudu, with Love playing the more standard Demon Zoo.
Yeah, classic matchup here. One that slightly favors Handlock. Because of the ability to clear the opponent's board so easily, and even things like Big Game Hunter that are teched into the Handlock, they actually have value in this matchup. So it's going to be on the Zoo to put a lot of pressure on early, and then make it either annoying for the Handlock to deal with their threats, or maybe at some point just YOLO it and hope that Handlock doesn't have the specific answers to what you have on board.
All right, well, talking about answers, let's talk about starts. Whose hand looks better? It's pretty good to have that Twilight Drake in your hand to start out with. But at the same time, being able to point out the knife juggler means that there will be strong turns for quite a few turns to come.
Yeah, a little bit of risk here, calling out the knife juggler. Obviously, that Haunted Keeper is a little more resilient, but as a zoo player, you want to get as much damage onto the face of the Handlock as possible. Put that pressure on, make him make defensive plays, rather than letting him sit back and tap, tap, tap into his big minions.
All right, well, gonna get some extra knife damage to face, and already down 6 health to turn 2. Saying, I guess, Face Hunter, eat your heart out. That's a lot of a lot of damage early on, but it does start to make that Molten Giant look a little bit more acceptable.
Yeah, so he does have the Molten and the Taunt available. Gudu right now thinking about whether he should drop down this Ancient Watcher for a potential Shadow Flame later. Love might see this and start trading into it, surprisingly enough, just because there is that potential Shadow Flame that can be super annoying. But yeah, so you see him kind of doubting himself, kind of wondering why that was played out. It's going to make the Twilight Drake of Gudu too smaller than it would have been. It's going to be a 4-7 now, rather than that 4-9, if he decides to go for that play. But, I mean, it works. It can still deal with a lot of these minions, and he has an Ancient Watcher for future plays to be able to Shadow Flame.
All right, well, at least for right now, we're Mal'Ganis is a little bit ahead of schedule, but the rest of the hand looks pretty good. Implosion, that's a pretty good option. So yeah, just Implosion the Twilight Drake and see what happens.
Yeah, if he pulls in the Twilight Drake, I wonder what his follow would be, because again, that Shadow Flame really kind of hurts you. So I wonder.
So instead, he's just going to go for the silence. I guess that's a little bit of the better play. Now you swing with Spiderling and clear it out and try to kill off as much as you can, I guess.
These knives are kind of awkward at the moment. But this makes a little bit of sense. Back in the day, Zoo would kind of save its owl just to get rid of a taunted Molten Giant and go to face, which is still a viable strategy. Ooh, snipes off that Ancient Watcher. Gudu not very happy about that. But he does have the Hellfire, so is able to clear most of this board, but only leave 3 power onto it, so it should be kind of fine still. He's getting low in health, but yeah, he's gonna have that. Oh, ooh, guys, some of you guys don't know that. I'm just reminded of that. That if the implosion only goes for 2, never lucky. But yeah, if your knife juggler dies to AOE, and there's an Aim King boss on the board, it does actually shoot the knife. So be careful of that,
Doesn't it depend on play order, though?
No, it does not.
Okay, well, cool.
So if it's a Death Rattle, it doesn't do that. But if it's a Grim Patron Warrior, or which I mean you wouldn't really see, but if it's a Grim Patron Warrior or something that spawns a new minion, creates a new minion, then that's the.
Even though it dies, it still gives you the dagger.
Yeah, because it spawns first. It's the same reason why Grim Patrons, they get frozen. Like if you Blizzard like a couple of Grim Patrons, the new Grim Patron that spawn also get frozen as well. In any case,
right.
Sorry. Anyways.
No, that's pretty interesting because it does sort of limit your options. You have to know to expect that. Otherwise, you're just like, well, why did I get hit by that extra knife? Or why are my patrons frozen?
Well, the funny thing was, it actually helped out Gudu here because it hit him for 1 more, and he's able to play the 1-mana Molten Giant. So, pretty fortunate for him. Unfortunately for Love, but in any case, he is in a really dominating position right now. How much damage is that? 2, 4, 6, 9, 10. Only has 10 on the board, but got to be a scary situation for Gudu. Does he have the courage to play out this Doctor Boom onto this board?
Does he? I mean, what are your other options? You either just drop Doctor Boom and hope that you don't die next turn.
You can Dark Bomb plus Loatheb. Dark Bomb plus Void Color. I mean, you pretty much play the Loatheb in this situation, though. It's more mana efficient. You could play the Loatheb and the Sun Fury, but then you just Direwolf Alpha Hop, which is, I mean, you don't want to be in that position.
You would, if you were going to Dark Bomb, then you'd want to hit the Direwolf Alpha, right?
Yeah. I'm just saying that you wouldn't want to go Loatheb into Sun Fury Protector because, I mean, it just kind of dies too. Oh, he's going to go for the Shadow Flame play. Interesting. Still going to leave up a 2-1. But yeah, feeling the pressure. Going to get rid of his only Taunt Giver in his hand just to clear most of this board out. Doomguard comes into the hand, but you have to give up Melganis to do it.
I think that's a good play. You recognize that you have your win coming up here and not all that long anyway. And oh, 1 mana off, being able to put him to 2. But even then, you would have been, I guess, sacrificing a minion on board for free. So probably just better to have that as your trump card in hand. Lethal on the board.
You could play super. I mean, you could tap. Because it looks like he's going to go for the tap, which means he's dead if he doesn't pick up anything right now, and he knows it. Gudu going to drop this game no matter what happens, unless he can somehow Dark Bomb both of his boom bots and kill the Doomguard. That's going to be it. Love takes game number 3, and he is 1 game away from being our final qualifier for Blizzcon.
You can see some deep breaths there from Love. He realizes he has fought his way very hard all the way to being 1 game off of qualifying for BlizzCon. This is, as far as like Chinese Hearthstone players' lives go, this is one of the biggest moments in your competitive career to reach so close to being able to travel not only internationally, but to one of the biggest Hearthstone tournaments in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously a dream for these players. They look up to Tiddler Celestial because of his second place finish last year, and they want to avenge him. They want to get that world championship and prove themselves not only to China but to the rest of the world. Definitely something that is definitely on their minds right now. And but all that said, Love 1 game away, but he has to go to his patron warrior, and this is where we saw him die to Gudu earlier. Lose to maybe I shouldn't say die, but he lost to Gudu in the first round of this group stage, if I remember correctly, because his patron fell flat. That's correct.
All right, well,
that's correct, right? He lost to
yes.
Gudu, yes.
Yeah, his patron did not come out swinging that time. Will it accomplish its goals this time around? We got an all golden hand there for Love, so he's rolling the money. He even has the golden hero, or not the golden hero, but the new hero.
The Gimli, I believe it's called. I forgot. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I would call it Gimli. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody can tell us exactly what that's.
I'm not paid to win, guys. I don't know the names of these guys.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually never played WoW, so my lore is severely lacking. But either way, Handlock probably going to get off to a pretty good start versus Patron.
I'm just going to call him Muradin. I'm gonna go with that, even though I know that's not correct at all. But that's the only dwarf I know, so I'm gonna go with that one. Love not drawing into anything great in particular. Reaching for a Fire Warx. I don't know if he's bluffing or what. I mean, I guess he could play all those cards. It's not gonna do him a whole lot of good. Yeah, probably just best to cycle here, even though it makes it harder for you to Battle Rage later. But I mean, Battle Rage isn't in hand. Might as well just on curve cycle that card out.
Magni Bronzebeard.
Magni, that's the one.
All right. Today, you learn. So here we go. We're going to start stacking up Arbor as this control warrior. No, he just doesn't have a whole lot to do early on. And it's kind of interesting to see the patron warrior just being like, yep, I can just keep putting cards in my hand, because he is going to get a very, very good Emperor turn here in a few.
Yeah, we do see the Gromish in the hand of Love, which is something that Chinese players have tended to favor. I know a lot of Western players do not like that card in their Patron Warrior. It's not cycle and it's not a combo, so that's. I mean, I tend to agree with that sentiment from the Western players, but we've seen it do some good work here in these Chinese championships. On the side of Gudu, just decides to pass. Obviously, if he taps, he overdraws. And doesn't want to coin in that Twilight Drake, wants to get out that Mountain Giant as quickly as possible.
Yeah, definitely want to put that out there almost immediately. Of course, you can't do it exactly immediately, but Mountain Giants actually cards that we've seen cut from a lot of these handlock decks in place of either more demons or a different style of playing them. But this is one of the more remarkably old school kind of demon lock decks. And I saw somebody remark, is TGT not released in China yet? Because these are decks that are very standard. Even handlock back from way back in the day when Hearthstone was first released, and Black Rock Mountain really bringing about the patron warrior. No TGT here.
Yeah, pretty much the only thing that didn't make Handlock one of the premier decks in the early going was that the game had just come out and Handlock is expensive. So, and people didn't want to craft, just single class legendaries like Jiraxis. So, I know I was in that boat in the early months, but it's always been strong. It's been strong basically since day one of the beta. And
Yeah, it does require your fair share of like epics, legendaries, stuff like that. That was back when Control Warrior was also really strong, but that is like the most expensive deck in Hearthstone. So not gonna see that. And where's your armor, bro? All of it almost gone. Only one remains. As that Mountain Golem does, or Mountain Giant rather, does get the hit towards the face.
yeah, not a great position for this Patron Warrior.
Oh wow,
Ooh.
draws into the execute. That feels good, man. Gonna be able to take that out, but he really wants the Emperor drop this turn.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of goes both ways, right? I mean, that execute allows him to execute it, but then you're just execute armoring up. Looks like he's gonna go for that. Better than just getting your Emperor immediately killed. And your hand isn't the greatest. Has a couple of options like the Frothing Berserkers and the Grim Patrons, but not enough really to warrant Thorson right now. Obviously, you don't need as many combo pieces as you do in something like Patron versus Control Warrior, but probably best to save it for at least getting one world or something like that. And we see the Coin Doctor Boom come out into the field. A lot of pressure on. Probably wants to see that Brawl come out. I believe he is running Brawl. But yeah, we see a pained look on Love's face nonetheless. He does not like to see the Doctor Boom come out when he couldn't even deal with the Twilight Drake.
Yeah, this feels very, very bad. Yeah, being able to deal with the Mountain Giant last turn, but now completely out of options for ways to deal with things this time around. He's going to get a decent amount of mana taken out of his hand, but more importantly, he doesn't discount any Whirlwind effects, and he doesn't discount Warsong Commanders. So still not necessarily the greatest Emperor we've seen out there.
Alright, so Gudu tries to get the Lucky Bomb and gets a little bit in between, which means he tries to go for the other one and misses. So he's going to lose quite a bit of damage. He's going to have to take care of this regardless. Probably going to see him throw that Twilight Drake in. And yeah, see Dr. Boom go to face. What else? What is he reaching for? The Ancient Watcher here?
I think that's, is that Argus? No, he has Argus in hand.
Yeah, it's the Ancient Watcher, but I'm confused as to why he's reaching for that card. Maybe he tends to go for Lotheb and kind of put a lot of pressure on his opponent and just get this Ancient Watcher now. Yeah, it looks like he's going to go for the Lotheb. Just to get a lot of pressure on, he can silence that Ancient Watcher next turn to push for more damage to face. He might actually even just push everything to face and just ignore this Thorson. No, he's going to kill it.
Yeah, that's kind of dangerous. Anytime you willingly leave that on the field, I feel like you kind of deserve to get punished for that. So there's finally the Warsong Commander. Still no Whirlwind effects in hand, so no way to activate those Frothings. This could potentially be a game-winning turn if there were things like double Whirlwind in hand, but unfortunately, not the case.
That said, there are, like you said, there is double Frothing Berserker, so it is a lot of damage since there's a lot of minions on the side of Gudu here. If he does pick up one Whirlwind, how much would one Whirlwind do? He would have 7 minions total, which means they would both go to 9. So 9, 18. So if he can maybe just Fire Warx's face here, and then just hopes to pick up one Whirlwind.
Right. I also hope for no taunts, but of course, as we know, there is an Argus in hand. And yeah, like I said, with the Whirlwinds, if he had had them in his hand earlier, they would have been discounted by Thorson, so they would have cost 0. So he'd still be able to play them, even though there wasn't enough mana for both of them. But all right, just going to go face with Grom and Axe and hope for the best. 24 health. Does he die? Can he get through these taunts? What is about to happen?
Alright, so yeah, 16 damage on the side of Gudu, plus the 4 from the Ancient Watcher would be 20, and then 2 more from the Defender of Argus. Looks like he's 2 damage off lethal, but you can't tap into lethal here because that's all your mana gonna go into that. I was actually watching the One Nation of Gamers tournament earlier, and Trump, when he was playing, made a bit of a mistake healing rather than playing a huge Molten Giant Taunt. That would have been impossible to get through. So I think I would like to see that play from Love here. Just go for the huge Molten Giant taunts and make it impossible for your opponent to get through any sort of board like this. And he'd actually, what he can do is tap Molten Defender, I believe. Yeah, you can tap Molten Defender. So I think I would like to see that, going to 12 and just making it impossible to get through this.
I'm pretty sure that's the play. I'm actually lagging out just a little bit here, but you clear everything out. Molten Giant comes down, and now you're going to.
Yeah, we have the one whirlwind that he was looking for, but not only, I mean 3, 2. He does have enough mana to play all of it, but
right.
he's getting through. He's gonna have to get through 2 of these things. He probably can kill them both, but
there goes your win conditions. So
yeah,
good luck with that.
Yeah, it looks like this game could be over right now. He's gonna survive. I mean, it's better than pressing the concede button, right? Maybe some strange things happen. Maybe Gudu disconnects or something. Yeah, gonna clear these out. But other than that, not gonna get much accomplished. And,
man, this is highly unfortunate. Yeah, this is one of the weaknesses of Patron Warrior. It doesn't have too many of them, but what it does have is limited win conditions. You lose your Frothings, you lose your Patrons, you lose your ability to win the game in most situations. And against the Handlock, they've got tons of great value options, and one of them is putting up huge taunts that, unless you have your Owls, and like we said, Patron Warrior doesn't really run silences, you're not going to be able to neutralize those very easily.
Yeah, exactly. And from the side of Gudu, from this point, you just have to think of what possible 3-card combination could I die to? Because obviously there's 2 into the Hand of Love, 1 coming on. So he's thinking, okay, probably War Song, Patron, and Inner Rage would be 8 damage. So, like, if I just play around that, I should be okay. Actually, not even going to clear out this War Song. I'm a bit surprised by that. He could have used the Owls to kill it with his Ancient Watcher. But doesn't... Well, this is kind of risky. I don't know. War songs can make things happen, Reed. So,
don't get my hopes up here. I have already seen some good plays, some bad plays. 14 health, and there's he's gonna have to clear as much off the board as he can. Does play the additional. Wow, this is kind of all in on the board. How much is he gonna get away with here?
I mean, he's getting him to 10, which is pretty scary on the side of Gudu, but then he can just simply clear this board. So, well, he can't actually clear the board. He can, let's see, what can he do? He can silence his Ancient Watcher. Probably start with that. Maybe even Mortal Coil his Ancient Watcher after he's attacked with it. He's going to actually tap first because he knows that he can play this NT kill, but what are the most dangerous things here? Are they probably the Warsong Commander and the 3/3, but maybe the 5/2 as well. Yeah, I don't really understand why Gudu didn't just clear out the board last turn. He interesting. There's another War Song. It's not going to be enough. I mean, it doesn't really matter in the end, but I felt like Gudu didn't give him give himself the best chance of winning. Regardless, he's going to tie up this series. It's going to be 2-2. We're 1 game away from either player moving on.
Wow. Yeah, and of course, a little bit of formality ending things out there. 2-2. I don't know. Love seems to be the player that maybe having a little bit more experience on his side, but Gudu, I was trying to look up any sort of information that I could find again about him, and it's actually a little bit sparse out there. So, still looking for his win here to advance to BlizzCon, and 1 game away.
Yeah, 1 game away for both players now. This is so important. We see people in the chat calling for a concede. Not when a trip to BlizzCon's on the line. You never know what can happen. And we're going to see this Control Warrior go against the Patron Warrior. Gudu actually fell to Wei Xing, aka Jihao earlier, when Wei Xing went for 42 damage to the face. Trying to look to avoid that this time. We'll see what happens.
Now, it should be noted, when I was looking for stuff on Gudu, he's played in the Gold Series, which is essentially the Chinese National Hearthstone tournament, and he's actually won it before, getting huge prize pools. Like I think he won like $8,000 from one of them, and from finishing first place there in the Hangzhou Gold Series. So he's used to winning Hearthstone tournaments, whereas Love didn't see too much information out of him there, but then again, maybe it's just floating out there, and I haven't grabbed it quite yet. But our final matchup will be Warrior versus Warrior, and I believe this is double. This is both. No, it's Control versus Patron, correct?
Yeah, Gudu going with the anti-patron lineup, as we said earlier. So yeah, definitely going for the Control War. That's much better choice to go with if you're trying to counter patron.
He's running Revenge too.
Yeah,
but
Revenge can be something that can deal with aggro decks. If you get too low, you can use it. And it's multifaceted. Typically, you're not going to need the extra 1 mana if you need the Whirlwind. And also, it can just be so much better than Whirlwind if you get down low in health. So
yeah, but that's the problem. Like the last time we saw this exact matchup, Control Warrior versus Patron, the Control Warrior died from 40 health. So you're not really going to be able to use the Revenge's 3 damage AoE to be able to clear the patrons off the board or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Definitely not going to be able to use it against patrons. I guess the one situation you could use it is if the patron doesn't have lethal, but they have to go all in or else they're going to die, or they're not going to have the opportunity to do that in next couple turns. So they go all in, they get their opponent to, really low life total, something like, 2 or 3. And then the opponent has Brawl, but if anything lives, they can't use their axe on it. So yeah, that's like maybe the one situation where Revenge could be really, really good. Other than that, you're probably going to see it maybe as a Whirlwind in this matchup. Maybe he doesn't get to use it at all. In any case, we have the Harrison out there, but you don't want to be using a Harrison on the Fiery War-X. It's not worth it whatsoever. So, I mean, you're definitely going to see him wait for the Dust Bite, because that's the card that you really want to get out of the way, especially because it can spawn patrons and allow for that OTK. So, not sure what to do here. Maybe just Seal Sun and Acolyte, but again, feels bad, man.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a card for later. You'll always be able to use that, because at some point the Patron Warrior is going to be able to play that Death Spite. Hopefully it sets up to where it's not a bad thing to kill it off, but not necessarily a super great turn 5. I guess you play, Armor Smith into Armor Smith?
Well, if you play Armor Smith into Armor Smith, your opponent gets even more cards, so that also doesn't feel the greatest either. So it looks like he's just going to go for the Shield Slam and just play out the Armor Smith. Armor Smith, obviously you don't get as much armor from it as the Patient Warrior does, because you don't have as many Whirlwinds. But you can get some value out of it, especially with that Revenge in hand, and you can kind of put it behind, for instance, a Sludge Belcher or something like that. So it can be pretty useful. Love actually throws down this Emperor on the field. He gets a few things discounted. I guess this is he figures he wants to get some pressure onto his opponent. He just had the Shield Slam. There might be a decent chance that his opponent has no way to deal with this. And yeah, Gudu is 1 damage off being able to deal with it right now.
Wow, that is. I'm trying to read. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he is not going to be super happy about that. There's no way that he ramps this damage up, and yeah, that Emperor is going to survive for another turn. Now, it's not as bad as it would be because 3 cards are already at 0 mana, but this is going to be a devastating Patron Warrior hand to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. And you might even see something like Love using that Whirlwind to get even more cards off his Acolyte, just to guarantee that you get as many things discounted as possible. Love very happy to see the Sylvanas. It's probably one of the few times you're actually happy to see Sylvanas, because you know that you're not dealing with the Thaurissan yet. I would like to just see more cards drawn, even if just let the Sylvanas steal some of your minions, just because you want to get as much value out of this guy as possible. In particular, getting that Warsong Commander. Although, to be fair, he is going to have a 1 mana Frothing Berserker, which is super rare. Going to have a 1 mana Frothing Berserker, a 0 mana Armorsmith, which can provide even more of that value in terms of damage on the Whirlwinds. But I guess, well, maybe if you have enough patrons, it doesn't really matter. You don't really want the Armorsmith on there. Although you could just run it into something on the opponent's side of the board, so adds an extra 4 damage potentially. In any case, he's gonna do what I was suggesting and go for those extra cards. We might even see that whirlwind. Looks like he's reaching for the death bite. Yeah, not going to be the case.
All right, so yeah, there we go. A very low-cost hand here for Love. It's kind of every patron warrior's dream, but he still needs those activators in the Warsong Commanders to come out there. So those are really the only components, the only pieces to the puzzle left out there. And what's
This
better?
is huge. Is he going to get the Acolyte or no? Guess the Acolyte. It's very, very big because of
Oh,
this Harrison Jones. If that had stayed on the side of Love, he would have drawn 2 more cards out of this. So, yeah, very, very big moment there. Sorry for cutting you off.
no, definitely a big, always big time during the game to see exactly what you're going to have out there for the acolyte. But like you said, yeah, big. And now the traditionally low card draw control warrior is going to get even more in his hand.
Yeah, always nice to get an extra Acolyte when you're the Control Warrior, especially because you know you're not going to be drawing as fast as this patron anyway. It's never going to go to fatigue. As far as Love is concerned, not many options right now. Obviously, doesn't have that Warsong Commander. Looks like he's just going to armor up and pass. He is at a pretty healthy life total, so doesn't really need to overextend or do anything rash. I'm sorry for the lag. Looks like it's completely stopped here. I'm gonna have to maybe completely refresh the stream. 1 second.
I actually had to just do that myself, so do not blame you. But yeah, as the game continues, actually I have to refresh it again. So you are not alone in your struggles.
So is Love just sitting here after having armored up, thinking about it? Maybe he's doing it for us. Maybe he realized at the Chinese stream.
It's like, hold up, wait a minute. We gotta have a little bit of a break here for our commentators.
Okay. All right. So anyway, he does execute the Harrison. It is a bit of a tempo play. He obviously knows there's going to be bigger things to execute in the future, but using that to get some tempo, make it so that his No Mission Adventure is a little bit harder to kill, and probably going to be looking to maybe go with this Grom next turn. Actually, probably he's going to go with the Death Bite and use the Grom to get some pressure on the face. So. Even though Love doesn't have all the combo pieces in hand, he does have that free whirlwind, does have that 1 mana Frothing Berserker, and most importantly, Gudu isn't at that high of a life total. He's gonna go up to, looks like, 38 here, but as far as control warriors go, it's not ridiculous. So.
Not too terrible, and it's definitely still within kill potential range with double frothing berserkers later on. So not out of range just yet, but still, this is kind of control warrior doing what control warrior does, making sure he stays as high life total as possible, trying to keep himself out of range of any of those patron warrior shenanigans.
Yeah, he on the side of Gudu, he finally picks up that brawl. If Love had actually just YOL'd it and gone for our patron propagation there, it would have been really, really hard for Gudu to deal with it. Maybe even impossible without that brawl. But obviously something you can't really do as Love. You can't just YOLO it like that. You've seen, for example, the Revenge on the side of Gudu this entire time that hasn't been touched. I mean, obviously that could be something like brawl as well. So. Yeah, don't blame Love for not going for potentially a patron turn earlier. Also, his plays have been pretty set for the most part, but what are we going to see him do this time? No Warsong still. If he were to gain Warsong, I mean, he does have 5 mana just for the patrons and the frothing, and he has a double whirlwind in hand, so that would only be 6. So. With Warsong, he can get double whirlwind plus patron plus frothing berserker, and that would be a heck of a lot of damage. Which is why he's considering this Grom, I believe, just to get the extra damage on face for 1 turn. And if he draws on the Warsong Commander, maybe he can have lethal.
Yeah, Warsong Commanders. Several times today we've seen Warsong Commanders be like that last part of the combo that you need, but instead he's just going to go ahead, clear things off, and that's a bunch of damage to face. 10 takes it down to, 28 life, which just makes him more and more vulnerable, although should be able to clear this Grom pretty easily.
Yeah, it does have the execute in hand, but, I mean, if you're Gudu here, you saw the Emperor discount things twice, and on top of that, you haven't seen a lot of those cards being played yet. So you're definitely pretty scared. You don't have any more. You don't have any more armor gain in hand. Looks like he's just gonna go with the Emperor to make things a little bit easier in the future. Could have gone with the Doctor Boom, but also that's a little bit of liability in certain situations as well.
All right, so what are we looking for here, D2? There's not necessarily a super feels good way of killing off this Thorison. You can hit it with a weapon and then execute it, but
I think Love is probably just going to equip War Axe and go face here and try to draw them 1 in 5, 1 in 5
win
War
condition,
Supplemental.
right? Well, plus leaving a minion on the board also makes your whirlwinds better too. Even though it's probably pretty bad to leave Thorison out there too much, he knows that he either wins in the next 2 turns or is gonna fall further and further behind.
Yeah, I suppose it's possible to maybe clear this guy off and then give yourself a few more turns. It's kind of like drawing cards essentially, because you're not dying, and it's almost the same thing because I mean your opponent could gain some armor, but maybe, I mean, not likely to get out of range, excuse me, and but he does go for hitting the face, realizing that if he doesn't do this soon, then he's not gonna have the ability to. So let's see, can he draw? Why don't we have the Chinese graphic, by the way? Can he draw the 1 in 5? It's 2 out of 10 cards left to hit. That's a War Song. We see Love hovering over that a lot of times. I guess they don't need graphics when the Chinese audience can do it themselves. 2 out of 10. Are we going to see that from Love? I'm pretty sure that's lethal. That is, I mean, double. Ooh. Gudu does play it. Oh, and there's the graphic. We found it.
Yeah, and you actually called the stat a little bit ahead of time, so.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you.
There it
He
is.
gets it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, there it is. If the boombots do not hit, I'm pretty sure this is lethal. Is Love going to go to Blizzcon? This is it right here. It's time.
Oh man, here we go. Where are those whirlwinds at? He wants to make sure that he has as little chance of losing everything as possible. So he's going to see where this boombot hits.
The frothing is still alive. The frothing is still alive.
Hits Armor Smith, that's good.
That's why you play the Armor Smith. Oh, sorry for the lag there, guys. Okay.
They still don't know about second boombot. There are patrons propagating. He's going to go for the next whirlwind.
They're still green, so it should be fine. Unless
he's having to queue all of these things up.
Oh, there's the skull, and he has it. Love is going to go to BlizzCon. Gudu's strategy of going anti-patron does not work out for him, and that's going to do it. 3-2 in favor of Love.
Oh my gosh!
He's stressed out. Look at his face. He's just, I can't believe it. There's the fist pump. I mean, I have no words. What are you thinking right now, Rapid?
A 23 damage Frothing Berserker and 3 damage over lethal, actually, from being up at like over almost 30 health. Jeez, this is the second time today we've seen Patron Warriors come back from huge deficits, put out these gigantic burst damage combos, and man, that 2-turn Emperor early just set Love up so well. And when it came down to it, on his final turn of life, he's able to come out with a win.
Yeah, very well played by Love there. And unfortunately for Gudu, his anti-Patron Warrior lineup ends up dying to the Patron Warrior. What can you do? And we have our 4 qualifiers for BlizzCon. It is going to be